Hope is Alive. Hope is Alive is a program that deals with setbacks, disappointments, tragedies, and yes, adversities that some of us have to live with. The show also promises to deliver a heaping helping of hope and inspiration. I am Eve Moffat, and this is my co-host, Kay Gibbs.
Good morning.
Hi, Kay.
Hi. Good
Today
morning.
we have a Vickie Moyer on as a guest. Hi, Vickie.
Hi, Eve. Thank you for inviting me. I'm very pleased to be able to come.
We're going to talk about falls in the house.
Yes.
You know something about that.
My mother suffered a massive stroke. Came out of it and went through rehab and all those things, and things were going pretty well. I was to pick her up in the morning to take her shopping, and I came rapping in. I said, "Hi, Mom, are you ready to go?" I hear this little voice say, "I don't think so." And she was flat on the floor in the bathroom. She had fallen away from the tub and out through the door where she couldn't reach the pull cord, and lay on the floor all night long with a broken hip. She did not have one of those emergency press buttons. She couldn't reach the cord. She was stuck. So falls are just a bedevilment of elders.
Yes.
And we all get so used to moving without thought about it. Rugs, shoes, all kinds of things that trip us up.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm sure Vickie's going to be able to tell us more about that and
Yes.
her experience.
Yeah, I have a little experience with that. I guess I'll just tell you what's happened to me and how it happened.
And what you were like before.
Well, I was just a normal person that could do things like everybody else. In fact, the day of the night that this accident happened to me, I was out planting our family garden. So I was on my hands and knees planting beans and lettuce and, just doing things that everybody does. And but that night, I had woke up. I needed to go to the bathroom. I got out of the bed and put my slippers on, and I guess I wasn't as awake as I thought I was. And when I slipped my feet into the slippers, they went out from under me. And my face came crashing down on top of my dresser. And I felt like I had broke every bone in my face. It just was very painful. And of course, I was crying, and my husband had to help get me up. And then I toddled onto the bathroom and went back to bed. When I got up the next morning, my face was just green and black and blue, and it was a mess. And so little did I know then that it had broken off a bone spur that had lodged in my spinal cord. And within a week, I was already very debilitated. I was up, my hands were up like this. It took me probably about 50 minutes to put on a pair of underwear. I could not coordinate my feet about 3 days after this happened. And then by the end of the week, I knew I was going to have to do something. So I went to my family doctor that Monday, and I was able to get in right away. And she sent me up to Flagstaff to the one and only neurologist. And by that time, I was having to use a walker. I was dragging my right leg.
What was your pain level?
It was terrible. It was just terrible. And then I looked so bad,
Yeah.
On top of it, which, didn't help. And the neurologist said that I needed to have a brain MRI and an MRI of my neck. So we got that taken care of.
In Flagstaff?
No, I actually had it done down here.
Okay.
And in the meantime, she wanted me to make an appointment with a neurosurgeon. And there was only one in northern Arizona, so I went to him, and it was in Flagstaff. And I had taken a disc of my MRIs, both of them, so he could see them. And he said that's when I found out I had a bone spur lodged in my spinal canal.
Where?
It was just above C5 in my neck.
At the base of your skull.
Base of your skull.
Okay.
And he promised me that I would be fine from that point down once I had this taken care of. But I also had a narrowing in my spinal column, and he wasn't sure that he could do anything about that. I don't know if the bone spur caused it to narrow a little or what, but with that, I went to see him, and that was on the following Monday, and he had scheduled my surgery for that Thursday. So my husband and I just stayed up in Flagstaff because I had to have a lot of pre-op tests done. And so I just stayed there until my surgery. But there were some complications, and I had some complications in recovery.
Yeah.
Right. And so...
Complications, do you mean infection or?
No, things just didn't turn out the way they were supposed to, and I had some reaction, I guess, to the anesthesia,
I see.
because I was in recovery from like 8 in the morning until a little after 5 that afternoon.
That's a long time.
Right, and for no longer than I was out, not even an hour. They had to tie me into the bed because I just was flopping around like a fish out of water.
Oh, no.
And so when
Were
I
you
asked...
aware, excuse me, were you aware that you were going through this ordeal, or were you off
I was not
sedated,
aware.
or-
They kept me full of morphine and anything else that they could think of to give me that would calm me down. And nothing was working. And when I finally came around, I told him, I said, give me my Requip, because that's what I take for restless leg syndrome. And they gave me that, and it just calmed me right down.
Yes.
After all those hours, of course, I wasn't able to tell them,
Yes.
you know, and I'm not sure to this day what happened.
Okay.
But, you know, it didn't fix me all the way.
How
And,
big was the spur? Was the bone spur?
it was about that big.
Oh, that's big.
Yeah, it was. And it was like a triangle shape.
Uh-huh.
So 3 edges were very jagged and rough. And when the surgery was over, he told me that he couldn't do anything about the narrowing. So I still have that, which is spinal stenosis. And then I have other problems with my back and my spine from previous back surgeries.
I'm not familiar with spinal stenosis. What are the symptoms, or what do you experience having spinal stenosis?
Well, if that's all that there, you know, it is, you don't have the use of your motor skills as much. Your all of your extremities don't function as
I
well.
see. So there's clumsiness.
Right, and you have nerve damage, and which I have a lot of.
Is it painful in your extremities?
Yes. My hands feel like they're going to explode all the time.
Oh my goodness.
And I don't have any feeling in my fingers. So I'll touch something or pick it up, and I think it's in my hand. If I don't visually see it, most of the time it's not actually there, or I've dropped it and don't know it because I don't feel it.
So this spinal stenosis has led to several other problems. What are they?
Well, I also have curvature of the spine. I have osteoarthritis throughout my whole body. I also have scoliosis, and I think I've had that for a while. That wasn't a result of the surgery. But
Were you healthy as a child?
was I healthy? Yes, I was.
Very
I
active
mean, I
in your
was.
adult years?
I was riddled with measles, I guess, when I was little. But no, I was very healthy.
You're a very healthy woman.
Yeah, I was. I mean, I had some asthma that I grew out of, you know, eventually. But
But you were a most capable.
yeah, I played sports, and
Then when did this onset in your age span begin to?
I have had
manifest?
this major problem for 4 years.
For 4 years. That's from the fall.
I
I saw you at the beginning.
Eve knew me before.
Yes.
Yeah, she
Yes.
knew me before.
Yes, I
so-
knew you before. You were just like everybody else.
Right, I could walk under my own steam, you know, and I didn't have to have apparatus to help me. But I walk with a cane for short distances because I'm not real steady with a cane. And then the most time I walk with a walker because I just feel more balanced. So but you know, through it all, I feel very fortunate that I can do what I can do. You know, I'm grateful that I'm not in a nursing home or in a wheelchair, or that I have to have somebody come take care of me, you know, because I can dress myself, but everything I wear has to pull over my head. I can't do buttons and I can't do zippers. So it's just,
That comes to us all.
yeah, you know, it's just, it's different how I have to shop now,
Yeah.
you know, for clothes.
Yeah.
Sure.
And that kind of thing. And the main thing that I miss is dancing. I
Dancing.
can't dance,
Oh.
but I bounce around in the chair. So.
I took some falls and I can no longer dance.
Oh,
Yeah.
and I've had 2 bad falls in the past 4 years, and my brain has had to learn how to walk again. It had forgotten how to walk. So I have had rehab,
Yeah.
for each time I think I was in the hospital about 5 weeks.
Is it ongoing now?
I'm having physical therapy now for my knee, but that's just to keep me from having surgery. I don't want any more surgeries.
Yeah.
I'm don't think I'm doing well with those.
We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back in a moment.
To run to, there's nowhere to hide. Don't let fear overtake you. It's time to decide that you'll never give up, never give up.
Okay, we're back with Vickie. Vickie, tell us, what have you learned from all of this?
I'd have to say I have learned to ask for help because I was so independent before.
Yes.
That's a big
I
one.
remember one incident with your van at the parking lot, and you didn't want them to help you, or tell me about that.
Well, I thought I was okay to drive, and I wasn't. And I just was being very stubborn. And so, do you remember Steve? And so finally they called Wade, and he came and got me, and then somebody else drove the van home. But I just thought that I was okay.
Yes.
And I remember starting up the van and backing out, and I almost hit James. And then when I realized that, then I knew I wasn't okay. And I just kind of slithered out of the side of the van. I was just not real proud of myself.
So you learned to ask for help.
I have. I've had to learn to ask for help. And the other thing I've learned from asking for help is that people are so willing to give it. And I have some awesome friends that have just been great in my life that have helped me. They've helped me move twice. They've done all the packing, and they've come in and brought me food and helped take care of me when I was down and couldn't get around as well. And I've learned to let them, because that gives them the blessings of being able to give. And I've learned to be a lot more humble, because it's very humbling to ask for help when you're not used to doing that.
Yes.
And the other thing is patience, and the biggest thing is acceptance. I've had to learn to accept my condition and to know that this is probably about as good as I'm going to get, but to be grateful, like I said, for what I can do.
I think we all go through that stage of, after having a challenge, to go through the stage of ignoring it or resenting it and then accepting it. It seems to be a process that we've seen over and over through the series of these interviews, is that this is not me, denial, and then, I don't want to look at it, I don't want to face it, and then, as you said, humbling. It's
Well, and
very
getting over
humbling.
anger. I was angry at first because
You're angry at who?
I was angry at God. I was angry at myself. I couldn't understand after my husband died from a fall. Blunt
During
force
this,
trauma.
her
Yes.
husband died.
He passed away last July, and I wasn't home when it happened, and he fell, hit his head, and he was gone in 30 hours.
Oh, my word.
His brain had swelled up, and they couldn't find where the bleeding was coming from, and they couldn't stop it. And that was, obviously, he fell because he had a bump and a little cut on the back of his head.
Was he in the bathroom?
We don't know. We don't know, because I wasn't home when it happened.
So you didn't find him conscious on the floor. He was able to
No.
recover enough to...
Yeah, and that was the weird thing, because I found him on the couch, and but he was needing to throw up, and I thought maybe he had gone into like a diabetic coma. He was very diaphoretic, and so we just called 911, and then they took him down to Barrows, and they just couldn't help him.
Yes.
They couldn't help him. So that was 2 falls. you know, in one household.
Yes, 2 balls.
And that's, so I was angry because, you know, we had just retired and we had all these plans of, you know, doing a little traveling in the United States. My husband had a very bad heart, so we couldn't go too far. But, you know, we wanted to do things.
To do things.
And
Boom, boom.
that
both
just
of you.
didn't come to pass.
It's changed.
Right.
So
right.
how did you stop being angry at God?
Well, that's where acceptance came in. You know, I had to realize that my life really isn't any of my business, that God has a plan for me, and it's going to come to pass no matter what I do. And the best thing would be to just accept it and do things just a day at a time.
Yeah.
I don't know what his plan is. I don't need to know.
Yeah.
You know, I don't need to know. So I just try to have a life and do
Yes.
things that I can do and have some fun and hang out with my friends.
Yeah.
And keep active.
Yeah,
and
I
you
stay
are,
busy.
You are active.
Yeah, I volunteer at the local food bank and on Tuesdays, and I really enjoy that. I get really tired, but it's a good tired.
Now, you're walking.
Yes.
Your walking skills are...
Not real good. I can't walk on my own. I can take a few steps, but if I don't have my cane or my walker, I kind of furniture walk. You know, I hang onto the cupboard. I go over to the table. You know, I walk over to the couch. But for me to just walk on my own I can take a few steps, but that's it.
I think
Yeah.
getting old is a matter of compensation, whether you've had an incident or not. You learn
Well,
to
that's
start
true.
compensating
That's true.
for things that are falling away that you can no longer do.
Right.
In the bath, is it
I do okay. I have a shower in what I'd call, I guess, my bathroom. But I don't like to use it. I actually go into the guest bathroom and use the tub shower
Oh.
because I feel more enclosed. I feel a little more secure. And if something were to happen, I could just sit on the edge of the tub real quick. I have a chair in the shower, but it like takes up the whole shower, and I'm just not comfortable in there. So I just use the regular tub shower and, you know, the little thing you can hang on to where you keep the
Yes.
soap.
yes,
And that's pretty sturdy for
And
me.
you've got grab bars.
grab bars, yes.
So,
All these little tricks to keep us
Yes.
safe.
oh yeah,
No
and you
throw
learn them real
logs.
quick.
You learn them.
Yeah, you learn them real
You have to-
fast.
it's amazing what you have to learn when you have to learn it.
Right, and that's the whole thing, you know, it's your life has changed for the rest of your life. And, you know, that, like I said, that goes along with acceptance, and you have to learn all the little tricks, how to redo things, and
find joy
do them
in
differently.
new places.
I'm
There's
sorry.
still joy. You can find joy in new
Oh,
places.
sure.
In
Do you
new
have joy?
ways.
I do have joy.
You have
I
joy.
didn't for a while. And I don't know if that was maybe holding me back. I'm sure it was, you know, but once I accepted what's going on with me and all my issues, because there isn't a minute in my life when I'm not in some kind of pain.
Oh.
And so I've learned to rechannel it and to do things that can take my mind off of it, you know. And nothing works permanently, but it gets me through my day. And like I said, I try to stay busy, and I watch my grandkids play ball, and, you know, my friends come over and we go to lunch. And
So there's still avenues for you to
yes,
enjoy life.
and I'm just very fortunate that I can drive. You know,
Oh, you drive.
I'm just so glad that I have the independence and the freedoms that I do. You know, if I couldn't drive, I think I would go mad. But as long as I can get in the car and go somewhere, you know, I feel like I'm not so trapped.
Yes.
You know, because
Cabin fever.
exactly, we were talking about that
Yeah.
before the show, and it's easy to get cabin fever.
Yes,
And
it
so,
is.
but you know, if I don't feel like doing something, I don't do it.
Rest.
You know,
Choice.
yeah,
Yes.
exactly. So, but on the days that I feel good, I kind of tend to overdo, and then I'll be down for a day or two. But that's okay. It's getting done.
Yes.
You know, so
So what do you anticipate? Do you anticipate moving?
Oh, no. You can ask any of my friends. I hate to move.
So
No,
where you
I've
are
moved twice,
is-
and that's
is-
enough.
You have a
accommodates what
lovely
you need.
apartment.
Oh,
you have a
thank you.
lovely apartment.
Okay.
Thank you.
Have you stepped down in the size of automobile or?
No, actually, I still have the same car that my husband and I have. It's an older car and it's big. I would like to maybe be able to get a smaller car, but it serves me well, and I just put money in it, keep it on the road,
Yeah.
so that I can go when I want.
Yes.
But no, I feel like this is probably about as good as it's going to get. I can do things to make my muscles stronger.
Well, this is as good as it's going to get. A doctor told me I was as good as I was going to get, but I have improved, and you might be.
I've improved. I would say just since November, when I had my last fall, I'm doing much better than I was up to that point. So, it's like I'm kind of in a work in progress.
Yes.
But back up, you had another fall?
I had one in November.
Where was that, in the house?
Yes.
Where were you?
I don't remember any of it.
Oh,
I don't remember.
you weren't cooking?
I don't
or-
remember the fall. In fact, I don't even remember almost 2 weeks before it.
Wow.
I've had my friend tell me, you don't remember me coming over, you don't remember me bringing you this to eat or whatever, and I don't.
So what was the medical opinion? Did you have a minor stroke? Or?
I think, in my opinion, I was over-medicated.
Ah.
Because when I got out of the hospital, I came home and I threw all my medicines away. I just chucked them all in the dumpster. And I was taking almost 18 medications a day, 4 times a day.
Oh my goodness.
And when I came home from the hospital, I threw all but 3 away.
And you're doing well?
Yes, my
was
brain
that without
doesn't.
your doctor's?
Yep, I just did it on my own.
Cool.
I don't know.
I know. Well, that's kind of my personality, all or nothing. Yeah, but they weren't giving them to me in the hospital, and I thought, well, if they're not going to give them to me in the hospital, why should I take them at home?
Yes.
And my brain seems to be a little, not so foggy, and I really think that was what caused my fall.
Yes.
Is being over-medicated.
Seems like if you had 2 weeks prior of this unconsciousness of your environment, and then you fell, that seems to be very true. I hear this over and over again, over
Yes.
medication and difficulties, and then mostly with their doctor's permission, they're eased off. And
Yes, eased off a little bit at a time.
How can I say?
well, we don't want to put that out as advice, Vickie. To
I
follow
don't
your
advise it.
route.
I'm not endorsing it. I'm not suggesting it. No, but
But there
I
you
just
go.
felt like I had been in the hospital for 5 weeks. I didn't miss it, and so I just threw it all away. And
Good for you.
So are you
I do
on
feel
3
better.
now?
I'm on 3 medications.
One's for pain.
One's for pain, and one's for nerve damage in my arms and hands, and then the other one's a blood pressure medicine, and that's all I take.
That's
That's
manageable.
good. That's manageable.
Yeah.
And you take them how often?
I take them each. No, I take the blood pressure once a day. The other 2 I take 3 times a day.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, and I just feel so much better.
You look wonderful.
Oh, well, thank you.
I don't read on your face pain.
I don't read
Oh,
pain.
really?
Are
Well,
you
good.
in pain right now?
Yes.
I don't read pain.
Not as bad as other times, but yeah. So it's probably all adrenaline.
Really, yeah, you can't hurt in 2 places. You're in the hot seat right now.
You're in the hot
right?
seat.
I have to concentrate on what I'm doing.
Well, you're doing a good job.
You
Oh,
good
well, thank
job.
you.
Yes.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure. You're very informative.
Yes, you're
Oh,
very
well.
informative.
Because-
You are involved in other groups?
Yes, I go to church.
Church. What church do you go to?
I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints,
Ah.
otherwise known as Mormons.
Uh-huh.
And I don't go every Sunday. Like I said, it depends on how I feel. So I used to be very active in the choir, and I'm hoping the church building where I go now, since I moved, I don't believe has a choir. So I'm just happy to be able to sing the hymns, during church. And
Yes.
I have a friend that her fiance is a musician, so her and I go and listen to him play.
You can name your friend.
Oh, well, Louise, and Skip is a musician. He plays steel guitar and lead guitar. So we go and listen to him play. When
Oh, you
he's
do?
playing. Yes.
Oh.
And so that's fun.
That's fun.
Yeah, it is.
That
So-
is fun. Well, you seem to be busy.
Yeah, it's the only thing that I can do to feel like I'm not beaten by this.
Beaten, yes.
You know, I just am determined not to let it get the
Down.
better of me. Yeah,
Oh,
get me
yes.
down.
You're still in the game.
Yeah,
You're still in
yeah.
the game. You're still here.
Because
You
I've
know,
always been a
volunteer-
survivor and I've always been a fighter, and
As
so
you
I
get
just
older,
stay
I
busy.
think volunteerism feeds that sense that you're just not taking up space.
Exactly.
That you're still viable, you have things to give, you're still an important part.
Yeah, it's a way for me to give back to the community.
Exactly.
You volunteer.
I do volunteer.
Where do you volunteer?
From NAU, foster grandparents. I go in
Oh.
and help kids learn to read.
Oh, that's
And-
great.
Oh yeah, it's very. I'm a writer, so of course,
Oh.
I'm lapping up those words and throwing them out to those little
What-
kids all
what
the
do
time.
you write?
Know. Prose short stories. I'm working on a novel now, so that is. They found the right spot for me. They're very good at that.
Good.
At foster grandparents, they put you in the slot where you would really be of benefit, and it's really given me a lot of zest. I have to put my mind to it to create it and be functional. You know.
Now you can do that here. You don't have to go to Flag.
No.
Good.
It's a very active program here in the valley.
Wow.
Yeah. So with your volunteerism, you know, that's keeping you physically active.
Yes.
You're active.
Yes,
Lord
I volunteer.
Yes.
I volunteer.
Yes, you
I
do.
believe in volunteering.
Yeah.
Yes. And
And I've watched you grow from your challenges too.
Yes.
As have I.
Yes.
Indeed.
Yes.
She's really a miracle, isn't she?
Yeah, even I've known each other for a little over 5 years.
Yes.
And so, you know, I've watched her come a long way with her speech. And
yes. With my speech,
you've done very
especially.
well. Yeah, you've done
And your
real well.
self-confidence.
Yes. When I first met you, I couldn't speak.
I know.
I stuttered.
You stuttered and you'd get frustrated and then you'd just stop. She would just quit. You know, but now she hangs in there. She doesn't let that get her down. And you don't stutter like you used to.
No, she was in my writers group, and there would be times when it was not a good day, and she would ask someone else to read her writing, which is very charming. Good writer,
Yes.
natural writer. And she just, like you said, wouldn't do it. She'd just pass it on.
Uh-huh.
She wouldn't take the challenge, but not now.
Well, I have to tell you, she's got a beautiful voice too.
Oh, really? I've
Beautiful
not heard
voice.
Eve sing, but she's
I
taking
have some of her
voice lessons.
CDs. She's got a gorgeous voice.
Okay. Enough about me. Enough about me.
Well,
What do you plan to do the rest of the day?
I'm going to go to church. Our church ward starts at 11 o'clock. And I heard we're getting a new bishop, so I want to, find out who he is. And then actually later on this evening, my daughter that lives in Tempe is up for a week or so. And so she's going to come over for dinner. And then I'll have her children and my great-grandchildren over for dinner later on this evening.
Wow.
So
And
it'll be
Are
busy.
you cooking?
Yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah, so I'll rest after we get off church, and then I'll muster up some energy to cook.
Oh, there's going to be a lot of wiggling in your house this
Oh, yeah.
afternoon.
Wiggling in your house.
Well, and my great grandsons are 1, 2, and 3.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, how fun to watch them.
Fun to
They
watch.
are. They are.
Yeah.
They're a joy.
Yeah.
Well, this has been a joy.
Yes.
Thank you very
Yes,
much.
yes, we really have enjoyed you being
Well,
on the
thank you.
show.
I feel very grateful to be able to come.
Well, this has been a very interesting show, and hope is alive. And keep smiling.
To run to, there's nowhere to hide. Don't let fear overtake you. It's time to decide that you never give up, never give up, never give up. Never give up, never give up, never give up. Never give up, never give up, never give up.